Good morning. We want to talk to you this morning about something that we feel is really important and that might really benefit you in your lives, you see. Many of you are in a search for happiness, in a search for finding yourself, knowing who you are. There are all kinds of an expression that a human will use about what it is that they're trying to achieve in their life experience. And you are trying to achieve something, but it's not what you think. You are here to achieve alignment. You are here to be the expression of the divine in human form. When you feel that pungent flavor of negativity, that is a sign or signal from your divine counterpart that the way that you are thinking and feeling is separating you from that endeavor or what it is that you plan to do. That's the part of yourself that you are looking for. That's the part of yourself that you're trying to connect to. That's the whole reason for all of the experiences that you're having here. It's not about the car. It's not about the perfect relationship. It's not about the money. And I know that many of you will emote over that, but it's about the idea that you are a creator based upon alignment. And alignment is love. Alignment is how closely can I get in the way that I feel about my human experience that matches the divine part of me where flow comes from. That's what it's really about. That's what finding yourself is about. It's not about finding an expression. It's not about finding a profession or something that you will be admired by something outside of yourself. That's not what it's about. It's about achieving alignment in love of self, not attaching to the emotions that are felt when you're disconnecting from yourself, but in understanding that I have a divine counterpart guiding me, helping me, assisting me in rejoining myself. And in that place or point, I can actually start to create in flow or what it is that satisfies me. Many of you that are in your experience that are not getting the experience that you want to are moved into a place of distrust. You're moved into a place of fear, of angst, of worry, of resentment, of irritation, of disappointment. You're not looking at life in the right way. You have the seasons. Some of you love the summers and prefer not to have the winters. But it doesn't mean that winter is not going to come, does it? But when winter comes, there can be beautiful ice storms that sparkle in the sun. There can be lots of activities that one chooses to do that are enjoyable that you cannot do in the summer months. There's a hot cup of coffee or cocoa that one can sit in front of a warm fire on their back and enjoy. This is how you create alignment. You don't create alignment by deciding that something that is being experienced is wrong or that you don't like the feel of it. Because that disconnection is only going to spread, it's only going to grow, and it's going to transfer into other areas of your life. When you get in that place or point where you're just not feeling good, where maybe life is not flowing to you the way that you would prefer it to, you're to know that there's nothing that's gone wrong here, that you are either calling out for more energy in the creation of what you really want, or you're just temporarily stuck somewhere in not realizing all of the beautiful things that you could be admiring instead of looking at all the things that you are in distaste of. It's a bad habit, really, that humans get into, that they start to look for things that they do not like the look of and do not recognize that that is the opposite of love. If you continue to look at things in your relationship, in your work, in your environment, and you deem them as good and bad and right and wrong, you're going to have a bumpy trail. And you're not going to feel very aligned or in love with the experience that you're having. You have a choice. You do. You have a choice. You can decide when you don't feel good, where is it that I could guide my focus to that I might feel a little bit better? There must be something in your experience that you can apply your focus to that you are satisfied with, that you do appreciate, and that you do love the look of. But for some reason, a human moves to this justification and victimization state where they do not want to be accountable for what it is they are seeing in their life. And they don't even notice their own part in it, their own negativity, their own condemnation, their own judgment, their own illusion that they somehow are the experience that they are experiencing. You came here for one thing and one thing alone, and it was to experience yourself as the God that you are. I doubt that that God is depressed, downtrodden, victimized, and feeling as though life is punishing him. But we can understand that when you are in the contrast and you are experiencing things that you don't like the feel of, that you could temporarily disconnect from your source and think that you are that human, that this experience defines you, and that life is a miserable thing. But we want to remind you that that is a perception that one holds. It's not the truth. One can hold the perception of love in all times. They can look for things to admire and bring themselves very quickly out of something that perhaps they have slipped into unconsciously in some type of a wound or a victimization feeling or something that has triggered them and caused them to create unconsciously, because that's what's really going on. You have something within you that has affected you, either in the life that you've lived or part of your lineage. It doesn't matter. If you're not getting full satisfaction in your life, there's a reason for it. There's something in you that is calling out to the universe for healing. Why don't you just recognize when you don't feel good and acknowledge what doesn't feel good and move to this place of surrender, of accepting, of loving, of understanding? You're never going to get into alignment or a state of love as you condemn and judge the place that you are in. You have to consciously choose what it is that you want to feel and then guide yourself in that direction. Some of you are very stubborn, pig-headed even. You don't want to give up the idea that something is happening in your experience that isn't your fault. We're here to tell you that everything's your fault. And we don't mean that in any disrespect or not in compassion. But you must understand how you create in your experience before you can create something that you're going to like the feel of. You must understand that in victimization, in justification, that I should feel bad, that things are terrible in my life, that I don't want to be here on the plane. That's all you're doing. It's all of your doing. Because you have forgotten that you have free will, that you get to decide how you feel in your experience, that you don't need to be victimized by it, that you can recognize that the negativity that you feel or that you are holding within you is nothing more than a communication from the divine loving part of you. Come on over here. I have some great things for you. I can transform you and your experience simply by you choosing it. You see, we hope that those of you that are suffering listen to this and start to take accountability for the lives that are being revealed to you in your experience, that you start to realize that you do have a choice, and that if you are suffering in it, that you can gently, very gently, guide yourself in a direction that feels a little bit better. Not by denying the one that you're in. We want you to love yourself. We want you to soothe you. We want you to be kind and understanding that what it is that you've gotten yourself into is difficult for you to navigate. And all of that is okay. You're not going to get the human to release something it's holding by trying to muscle out of it or let it think that it is not important what is felt. But make no mistake about it, what is felt is, I have a preference and this is not it. That's what's being felt when you don't feel good. It doesn't mean that it's true. It doesn't mean that your life is terrible. It doesn't mean that it is never going to improve. It means that right now in this moment, I'm calling out to the universe that this is not what I prefer. The universe is getting all of that material. And so now it's your job to guide yourself into the direction of something you can appreciate. The weather is terrible, but the hot chocolate is good. The weather is cold, but I like the sun on my face. There's always a choice that one has in what they are experiencing. If you continue to use what you are experiencing as an excuse to emanate something that is opposite of your source in negativity, you're going to get more and more and more experiences that are not to your liking. We want you to get the lives that you are meant to get. We want you to understand that it isn't that difficult. We know that the sting of negativity sometimes is debilitating. We're not denying it. But when you feel it, look at it differently. Look at it more as a guiding force from the divine part of you, that it is time for you to start creating consciously and guide yourself in a direction or a feeling that feels better than what you are choosing in victimization and justification by what you are experiencing, and let go of it. You're creating reality. And you're creating it based upon what you believe and what you perceive in your experience. Therefore, everyone's reality is different. And therefore, reality isn't really real, is it? Because people are determining that for themselves. Why don't you determine a different reality for yourselves? Why don't you decide what you want to feel when you feel something that you don't like the feel of. You have that ability. That's what free will is. I get to choose. The source is never going to make you choose the positive route, but it's going to make you feel something very negative when you don't. That's your guiding signal or sign. We hope that this really clears up some of the issues that humans are having surrounding happiness, and that you can derive from this recording that you have way more power in that endeavor than you are applying to yourself. Good day.